Hello, my name's Barry. Welcome to Christianity Explained. Today, I'm going to introduce you to an interesting book that I kind of had on the back burner. I posted it a while ago because I wanted to learn more how to do a better job studying Scripture. And I realized that's a common objective for a lot of Christians, no matter how long you've been reading. And would you like to learn how to go deeper? Well, then let me. Here's the book that was suggested some time ago. And it is How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth. And it was written actually by two gentlemen. The main person is Gordon Fee. He is a professor at Gordon Crown University or something like that. Sorry, I'm a little sketchy on it. And he is a scholar and part of the Pentecostal community. Now, he really does know how to do a good job teaching how to do exegesis. And the way he designed this book, it feels like I'm taking a class. Now, let me bring up the book piece that I need. What I'm going to do in just a second is bring up the table of content and show you. As you can see from this table of content, these are the various topics. The one that was on the previous screen is talking about getting the tools together, the translation. And I'm going to talk with you guys about what I'm learning from him and just in a little bit. But here's the other stuff that he did. In the next two chapters, 3 and 4, he goes over in detail what the epistles are, and there's a lot more to it than just a letter. He goes in depth on, okay, this is how you read it so you can get more out of it, rather than just do a devotional read. And of course, he goes into the Old Testament and probably about understanding the narrative and the various types that there. And there's also poetry in terms of the Psalm, Proverbs, all kinds of stuff. And he helped quite a bit in helping people to do this. Now, as you can see, he also has an appendix set aside to help you pick how to evaluate the commentaries. The wisdom literature, then now, the Psalms, understanding Israel, prayer, all this. I can tell you, this is pretty insightful. Hold on 1 second. Good. I'm gonna hold on just a sec. Here's what the note that I want to share with you from his book. It's in the chapter 2. And by the way, there is an audio version of this book. So if you're like me, you can listen while you read. And for some of my other friends, you probably are the type who want to hear. Okay. There you go. Now here's the part I want to start with. Then I'm going to show you some insight as far as translation goes. Goes on to say there are several translations. Yeah, the several translations of the whole Bible that are most easily accessible may be placed in a formal or functional equivalent and historical distance scale. Oh boy. Now, just so you know, formal equivalence refers to literal translation, how close it is to the original text. Alright? And there's like an intermediary stuff. That's where the ESV is. It's kind of like a balance between the formal and the functional. The functional refers to the meanings. Is the meaning clear and understandable? And the meaning is supposed to be pointing to the word where it originates. Then you get the free form, as he called it, which is better known as paraphrase, pseudo commentaries. He does not recommend that. I checked with to see Wayne Grudem, and they pretty much will agree on that. Now, here comes the fun part. If you ask certain friends of mine, Lutheran, and Wayne Grudem, they'll tell you they prefer the essential, as close as possible to the original language, word for word translation. And they are a little on the wary side when it comes to just tell me the meaning. Gordon is more like, yeah, I know you like the word for word, but, the average reader would kind of like it if you say it in plain English, the language that they speak. So you got to get a balance. And from what I'm discovering, I'll show you in a little bit, the ESV does. Even Gordon acknowledges it. Now, I'm going to finish reading this. Hey, welcome aboard. let me get this here so I can read aloud what it says. Now let's continue this. The equivalence and historical distance scale as shown, and I will tell you what it says. I'll tell you what the following, the graph, which is down below, says. And he actually says it. Line 1 represents the original translation. Line 2, the various revisions. Note that in the case of the RSV, both the new revised standard version and the ESV move more towards the middle, as does the NIV 2011. While the New Jerusalem Bible, that's the NJB, REB, I'm not sure what that is, and the NLT, the New Living Translation, he's referring to which is the revision of the Living Bible. Okay, for some of my friends who complain that the NLT feels like a paraphrase, this is probably why. Also, have moved more towards the middle from the original. And I'm going to amp up the screen magnifier so I can see, and I will tell you what's going on. First, on the top here, you have the headers. So functional equivalent, which is literal. Next group is functional equivalent, which is dynamic, focused on the meaning. And all the way over here is free. You know, the paraphrase. And there's three in the free form. NEB, Living Bible, LB, and the Message. Yes, he would throw the Passion out here too. Now, here, for the literal, he had the King James, which is right here with the top number 1. The New King James Version, they're like right on top of each other. Next column, New American Standard Bible, 95. I'm guessing this is the Holmes Christian Standard Bible. These two are pretty literal, and I agree. New American Standard is, even he said, this is like word for word wooden because it's like, it matches up. So if you want to know what's the likely English equivalent to the Greek, the NASB is your man. The Revised Standard Version and the New Revive and the ESV. Those and the ESV, I will agree, is definitely a good balance. Even Wayne, who likes the literal, prefers it too. In fact, his team was the one that put it together. Functional, the dynamic, naturally, both the version of the NIV, apparently the center, then moved. I have no idea what NAB is, but the New Jerusalem Bible is also as you can see, it starts moving outward. All right. Okay. Now, okay. When I was reading his thing, I thought it might be a lot better if I show you uh, instead of telling you the things with these translations. Because there is a value. And even he suggests you have a combination of Bible translation. Because no one Bible translation, no matter what your view is going to do everything. Okay? Hmm. Hmm. Now, first, one of the first steps, if you can, now just so you know, I have obviously I have Logos, and it gives me the freedom to have multiple translations, and I can also get a collection of study Bible notes from a few different sources. And that's a good thing because it's going to help me to drive some points and strategies for you. Now, I'm just going to show you up here what I'm using. It's the ESV, English Standard, and I'll tell you, I'm starting to like it even more. Even with doing the New American Standard Bible, 95. Mm-hmm. For me, because of what I'm using here, I can use this as my interlineary. The KJV, the King James Bible. And I have it up there for a reason. The NIV, we're going to use the 1984. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a study Bible. Mm. Mm. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Hello. Hmm. Oh boy. Ah, you gotta love it. Now, why is this good? Well, as Gordon and others have said, it's a good idea to have multiple translations. This way, you can get a better clarity on what the text means. And no matter how much we might like a favorite translation, guess what? Not one of them is perfect, okay? Because there are times when certain other translations do a better job than the others. And I'll tell you what I mean. Now, and I'm also going to incorporate some of the things I learned from chapter 3. When you come to studying the scriptures, it's a good idea, and I would really suggest you get the study Bible version of that translation. Okay? Here's why. Let's see. I got the ESV, and since that tends to be the popular translation for study, let's get the ESV study Bible. Okay. If you have the ESV Study Bible, this is what that will likely look like. And here, as you can see, it gives you the author, talks about who the author is, which is of course Paul, and provides a whole bunch of extra information. Data, talks about the dates of when Paul wrote from the city of Ephesus and in the Roman province of Asia Minor, and sometime before the final days of Pentecost. This is before he took off to Jerusalem, which is important to know. And this was around 53, 54, somewhere in this vicinity of 53, 54, 55 AD. Great. But even then, and I do appreciate the theme, but even then this thing, okay. I say I'm looking at this. It's really the first time I'm actually looking. And yeah, I could see why some of you guys love the ESV Study Bible. Now, here's the reason why I say you probably don't want to just stay with one. Here's what the NLT Study Bible can do for you. Kind of the same thing, but it also, in this case, brought up a nice, beautiful map. So you can kind of see, where Paul was writing from and where Corinth is. And it also has its own nuances, which can give you some extra information and depth. Like, there was an old coins? Wow. Whole lot of. And of course, NET Study Bible is notes. It's great for giving you some insight into what the translators are thinking and some of the linguistics. Perfect for the nerds. And yes, folks, I do have the MacArthur Study Bible. Which has his insight. I'll tell you what I'm finding out now that I'm a lot more set up for studying like this. Boy, am I missing out. Now, why is this important? Because the more you study the Word and get some insight, it will help you in better understanding what the epistles are, what some of these others are. I even have, if you can, get the NIV Cultural Background Study Bible, which will give you some insight on extra insight. Although I think these will do a pretty good job. Now, let's move on to, I'm just thinking for a second. Yes. Let's go to first. Seven. Okay. Now, I kind of got the idea from Gordon, where he starts off, uses chapter, the beginning part of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 to illustrate a point, why it helps. Starting with the ESV, I'll read what's here on the screen. Now concerning the matter about which you wrote, it is good for a man not to have a sexual relationship with a woman. And goes on to explain, but because of temptation to sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife, and each woman should have her own husband. And let's see how New American Standards, as you can see, goes now concerning the thing how wrote, it is good. And this is what I mean by a word for word translation. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Now, I can read that, and it's because I'm acquainted with this style, and this, it's a little easy for me to fit. But somebody else who's beginning and new might look at this and go, what exactly do you mean by this? And it can be, and the reason it's kind of easier for me is because of the verse below. This is why we have to learn to read not just one verse, but also this thing here. But because of immorality, each man is to have his own wife, and so forth. Now, let's see how the King James. Now, it is good, and what happened, of course, saying if the New American kind of copied what the King James, which is very literal, and this in the Greek, it probably pretty clear on what it meant. And as you can see, it's good for me not married, but since there's since there's so much morality, each man should have his own wife. What Gordon was saying in the book in that chapter is this was probably more geared toward the public reading of scripture. So you might hear this, so it doesn't ruffle the wrong person. Oh. But I think you will agree that yes. Oh, but it gets even more interesting. I'm trying to remember. I think it's in. Let me go to. I know. Romans. Yeah. Now here comes another one. Now mind you, I do prefer and I'm definitely liking the ESV. Paul starts in basically starting a new paragraph. He says, this is Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, and this is the ESV, by the mercies of God to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Now, I will want to show you something. There is all right. There's a little footnote, one that's right here by the word brother. I clicked on it and it says, or brothers and sisters. Why? Because there is, I hate it when that happens. Now, just in case you're worried that this is where the New American Standard and the King James actually does a better job than the ESV. Why do I say that? Here's the same verse. Therefore, I urge you, brethren, not brothers, brethren, by the mercy of God, to present your body a living and holy sacrifice. Uh, you see what's happening here. This is where what is meant by the wooden. And by the way, the reason I said brethren is because the Greek, the King James used the same word. Brethren is another way of saying brothers and sisters, or a large group of believers. That was how you would address. Even Peter, when he was addressing all of people on the day of Pentecost, he said brethren, because he was using a Greek word that is referencing a large group gathering of people, men and women. And that's what that was about. And I did look up the underlying Greek, and yes. Now, here's what I already told you what the King James says. Here's how the NIV. Therefore, I urge you, actually, the updated NIV does say brothers and sisters. The updated New American Standard says brothers and sisters. Yeah, technically, I say NASB got it better, but yes. And I would have a little fun with Gordon, because he likes this better, but hey, that's why it's helped to have multiple. In view of God's mercy, to offer your body as living sacrifices. Holy, and yes, this is in pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. As you can see, hello. It does, like I'm saying, it really does help to have multiple translations and see. Now, yike. Oh, wait. Oh. Alright, let's see. No. Here's another tip that he was talking about with these, when it comes to Bible reading. And admittedly, I don't think to do that, I guess because of my vision, I tend to read a lot slower than the average person. So what I end up doing is listening. And I will confess that I've not always been a very good student of the Word, as some other people I know. But then again, I was never actually taught. I had to learn on my own, and had a lot of junk. But one thing is, the book is definitely helping me to know how to get better. I'm probably not going to incorporate all his tactic. Wow. Yeah. What he said in his book. Oh, now I know what I did wrong. what he said in the book, read a few times. One, just read the whole thing, like all First Corinthians. That's so you know, like, oh, what's going on. And I've done that at times. Then go back and slowly see on the second or third, see what pattern are you seeing, and try to organize what's going on so you can better understand the text of what it's saying. And sometimes it really does help if you read again and again through multiple translations. That way they all point you to something. So you can get more of what's happening. And that, which is pretty good. And you also slowly over time learn to breathe in more of the words and enjoy more of it. And I would encourage you to do it in a way that said, I want to enjoy the text and really dive into and better understand what Paul was saying and how to respond. Same thing applies to the other epistles, the Gospels, and all that. And where you can, like when I use these translations, they have cross references. So I've had to learn. Wait a minute. Perfect. That's what I should have had. Yeah. Okay. I'm in the ESV. I clicked on one of the cross references I could have used if I wanted to do a deeper study for a particular verse. Like from here, I could jump to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15, and get a better understanding. This idea comes from the principle of surrounding text, using scripture to clarify scripture, to get a better understanding of what is being said. Well, yeah. So that's what that's about, huh? Number 6. Wow. Wait. Now, in my case, the ESV naturally has all kinds of cross references. But that's good. That's actually a really nice way, I think, to actually get a lot more out of this thing. Now, Now I'm kind of glad that I pushed myself to do this review because I might discover way more. But then again, what was the old adage? He who seeks to instruct and help others will in turn teach himself or herself. Because we who desire to help others by teaching will invariably teach ourselves and strengthen our own understanding as we move forward. Because I am not in the same league as some other people I know. Now, I want to know. Now, I actually do have a question for you guys. And it relates to doing... hold on. Mm-hmm. This is what I was looking for. Now, Wayne has what's available on Logos is basically an electronic version of Bible Doctrine, which I have in the Kindle. I can, now the advantage of buying this copy, and the only reason I would, is to bring that in so I can point, so as we cover certain scriptures that he's going to reference, and this guy referenced scriptures quite a bit. Oh, yeah. And I know it's $30. And because of that, I could actually help you with learning some basic biblical principles like sanctification or justification and other things which are part of the Christian faith. And the Bible Doctrine book is kind of geared towards layperson, but you're gonna get some definite meat. And what it'll do is it'll give you a bunch of text and say, here's some scripture to support what this is about. And it's easy for me to click on and say, okay, here's the scriptures. Well, uh, let me know if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Okay, this thing's gone 50 minutes. That's good. Yeah, and as for the rest of that book, of what I'm covering, Gordon, I'm not sure if that's really going to be something for the average person or what. It's not so even dawning for me, because it's more rigorous than what I think. Oh well. All right. Hey, I want to thank you for your time, and hope this video for Gordon's book help. And I just remembered, but hold on. Oop. Show, library. Come on. That's it's, oh wow. Well. It seems I got a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll study like a pro. Different degree. Yep, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. Whoop. Alright. Hey, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate that. Oh. Well, I'm pretty much wrapping up here. So I thank you, those of you guys who come today, and those who will undoubtedly whoop, up later. And please, if you're liking all this, hit the like button, the subscribe, and please share. I hope you have a blessed day, and see ya.